Hi, I'm Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co founder of the She Angels Foundation. I'm also the podcast host of Invest in Her and an award winning producer, author, and TEDx speaker. Our show, Invest in Her, features phenomenal female founders and funders. As you know, women receive less than 2% of venture capital funding. Our series is about accelerating the funding of women by connecting them to funding resources. Let's meet today's guest. Welcome to this week's edition of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. Also the general partner and COO of Silicon Valley Women Founders Fund, and more recently, the producer of the movie Show Her the Money. And today, as always, every week we have incredible resources for you as the listeners. And I'm excited today because we have a topic we haven't talked about before, and that is equipment financing. I thought this would be really helpful to a lot of entrepreneurs. So, without further ado, I want to introduce my guest. She is the founder of American Financial Partners. Please welcome to the show, Amy Wagner. Hi, Amy. How are you?
I am great. How are you? I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. And when I met you and you said you did equipment financing and leasing, I'm like, wow, that really affects a lot of businesses. We've never talked about that topic. I think it's good for people to have you as a resource. So, yeah, we're going to talk about what that means. Now, before you started your business, you've been in this business 25 years, so I think you know a thing or two. And you've actually been honored in this industry as one of the top women in this arena. So we are super lucky to have you on because there's not a lot of women in this space, right?
There aren't a lot of women in this space. It is probably a pretty predominantly male dominated industry, but there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for everyone in this industry. That's the great part.
And before you opened your own business, you did this equipment leasing and financing for US Bank. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
And so you started your career in that business doing it with them, and then decided, hey, I could go be an entrepreneur and start my own business, right?
Yes, exactly. US Bank was a fantastic opportunity. I learned from amazing, very intelligent people. And I was traveling a lot. I had three small children. And I think that I was just stupid enough to think that if I started my own business, I would work less, I would have more time, I wouldn't travel as much. And it was probably the exact opposite. But it's really been a fantastic journey, a lot of ups and downs. But we have the opportunity to help other businesses grow by providing them with capital for their equipment. It's fantastic because we really get to see others grow and nurture their businesses year after year.
So, Amy, you started your own business, American Financial Partners, for what you thought was to have more time on your hands being a mom. Are you a single mom or?
No, I'm married. I have three adult children now, but when I started, I had I think a 4-year old, a 2-year old, and a 1-year old.
Wow. And you started your own business. That's really impressive. Um, so equipment financing and leasing, let's talk with that. What is that about? Like, can any entrepreneur use your services, or is this for specific types of businesses?
It's a great question. We do business, commercial equipment finance. So people that are utilizing the equipment to generate income and are providing their services to other businesses. So as an example, we have somebody in the waste industry potentially that is doing something with recycling, right? We can help them finance the equipment that they need to build their product. And then we can also help their end users purchase their product. We're really a tool in the toolkit. We only take the equipment as collateral. So it's so fantastic because if you have a line of credit potentially with your bank, you may want to utilize that for something else, something non-tangible. You can use our financing for something that's very tangible. We'll just collateralize the equipment and it provides more of a cash flow situation. So you're not pulling $100,000 out of your account for something that you need, you can pay over time.
So, I mean, could this be used for anything like, I mean, a copy machine, or is it more like the type of equipment that would be used to create something, or is it both categories?
It's both categories. It really could be anything. It could be anything from a dump truck to an embroidery machine to software. It, lots of different options that we have throughout, and we work nationwide, and we have a lot of lending partners that like different niches. So that's a great question. It can be just about anything.
So, what types of businesses do you find yourself mostly financing? What type of equipment and what type of businesses?
We do a lot of construction equipment. We do a lot in creative services. We also have some niche-based equipment that we finance, and a lot of it is more credit-based, not just asset lending. And the great part also is that we have an A through a
Now, wait a
C.
minute. What does that mean? Let's explain that to people.
Mhm.
Credit-based as opposed to asset lending. What do you mean by that?
Credit based would be more looking at the credit profile of the individual, right? And the business, the profitability of the business, how long have they been doing what they've been doing, and how will the equipment be used. So if they have a good credit profile, maybe the equipment doesn't matter as much. If they don't have a great credit profile, maybe the equipment matters more. Does that make sense?
So, which one do you prefer?
We can do both.
Oh, you can do both.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
That's amazing. So tell me some of the kind of businesses. So construction, like,
Mhm.
in other words, they're buying like, I don't know, tractors or something.
Right, dump trucks, tow trucks. Let's say we have a guy who is running a tow truck company, right? That's an easy asset for us to finance. He's using that every day to make money. Maybe he's been in business 2 years. Maybe he's a startup. Maybe he's been in business 20 years and he's adding to his fleet. It's just all over the board, and it's so interesting because we get to learn about people's businesses. We get to learn about what they're doing, how they're expanding, how they're growing. It's really fantastic.
So there's not many women that do what you do.
Mhm.
What is the percentage, do you think, of women that you all finance?
Boy, that's a great question. We do have one niche that is primarily women-owned businesses. It's more in the creative services industry. Some of these are home-based businesses. It's artists who do quilting and garment printing, and some of them are home-based and some aren't. So,
You know,
it
you had mentioned that to me, and I'm
Mhm.
like, wait a minute. You mean somebody could be in the quilting business and could get an equipment loan from you? Like, who knew? Like, that is such an
Right,
interesting facet.
right. And the quilting industry is a very large industry with very
Is
talented
this in the Midwest, right?
all over the nation.
All over the nation. Who knew?
Yep,
Oh,
exactly. Yep. And a lot of embroidery companies, people who are doing, logo wear, hats, things like that. So I don't know exactly what our proportion or what our, percentage is that is just women owned. I'd have to kind of go back through and look at my database. But I mean, we hope to help everyone grow, right?
right. So if people are listening, they don't have to be in your area of the country, right? Because you're located where?
We're located in South Dakota.
Right, South Dakota. And I had
Hmm.
mentioned to you, gee, I had just been to North Dakota, to Fargo, where
Yeah,
we had shown our movie, Show Her the Money. And I actually loved visiting there. And but you can finance equipment or lease equipment to anyone around the country, right?
that's correct. We're nationwide. Yep. So, and
Yeah.
that's great because phone, fax, and we don't even use faxes anymore, right? But email. So it really has expanded our breadth of industries and customers that we can contact. It doesn't just need to be local in South Dakota because our population base isn't that great.
Right, right. So American Financial Partners, your company, it could be, like you said, someone needing a fleet of cars. Maybe they own a car business, limousine business, something like that. So it could be someone that needs financing for that.
Mhm.
Now, you mentioned trucks, you mentioned cars. Why would someone come to American Financial Partners as opposed to going to the car dealership and getting that financed? Is there some advantage to using your company?
Right. Great question. Primarily, people are coming to us because we're fast and we understand the industry. So, and then also we're just taking the equipment as collateral. So let's take an example as a bank. A lending institution, a bank is a great part of that toolkit that a business needs, but they may want to take a blanket lien on all the assets of the organization, accounts receivable, all assets. We're just going to take a lien on that individual piece of equipment. So that really helps as the business owner is continuing to grow. Everything isn't collateralized. And also, we're probably a little bit quicker in how we can turn equipment. You know, if you need something quickly, you have an opportunity, you have a contract or something, and you need to get this asset working, we're going to be a great option because we're faster.
I love that. So it doesn't matter if it's office equipment to get yourself started or if you need something specifically for your business, maybe a stove for a restaurant, something like that. It's across the board. I find that fascinating that you can do from A to Z.
Mhm.
Um, what about a brand new business starting out? Is that based on credit or is it that, they are purchasing whatever and you're just holding that as collateral?
That's a great question. Brand new businesses can be a little bit more challenging. We need to look at the depth of the individuals that are starting that organization and then also, some previous experience. Have they been doing this for quite some time? What does their personal credit look like? Do they have money in the bank? I mean, there's a lot of things there. That's a little bit more in depth, but it's doable. And we
It's
do
doable.
startups all the time. Yep. It just takes us a little bit more time, a little bit more underwriting, and it also depends on the dollar amount that they're looking for.
Right. I feel like I'm connected to a lot of entrepreneurial communities that could really use your services and want to do business with a woman. So
Hmm.
I think you have a leg up there being one of the women in that arena. And I'm seeing more and more entrepreneurial communities pop up. So, wow, Amy, I think you're in a good position to really grow your business by helping other people grow their business.
Right, right. And,
Yeah.
it kind of lends itself back to what you do with the venture capital fund, and you're a tool in the toolkit, right?
Right. Absolutely. So you seem like you love what you do.
I do.
Yeah. What is one of the most fascinating businesses that you have done the equipment leasing or financing for?
Wow, that's a great question. Um, Boy, I don't even know. The best part for me is talking to people every day. I love to talk to people and learn about their business. I talked to an individual the other day who he puts in pools in
Yeah.
Illinois, and he explained to me how they're buying steel and how expensive that is, and then they have to leave that in the ground, and he's looking at buying some forms and how that'll increase his efficiency. And it's just so fascinating because I have an opportunity to learn about different industries and the way people are doing things. So I don't know that I have a favorite. It's just every day I get to talk to somebody and I get to learn more about what they're doing.
I feel the same way about the venture capital community. I say that all
Mm-hmm.
the time that every day I get to talk to people who are innovating ideas that are cutting edge that uh, nobody else would even know about. And you're right,
Yep.
you're in a really unique position to learn about all different types of businesses. So what would you say are the number one niche businesses that you do this equipment leasing and financing for our listeners? Like what is the majority of your business in? What kind of niches?
We do a tremendous amount of repeat business, so we can really handle a wide group of industries. So a lot of creative services, a lot of construction. We do some hard asset lending. And, it's really hard to pinpoint that. I think it's more of, what, give me a call. Let's talk about what you're doing. What kind of equipment are you looking for? And then I can tell you if I can help. And if I can't
Right.
help, I can help you find someone who can.
I love that. I love that. Well, you sound like the go-to person in this arena. And how can they reach you?
They can go to our website. It's financewithafp.com. And I can also provide my cell phone. If anybody wants to call me, that would be great.
Okay. Or how about your email?
Yeah, my email is amy at finance with AFP.com.
And AFP stands for American Financial Partners.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about LinkedIn? Can we find you there?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn.
Great. Well, those listening and not watching to see her spelling, it's just Amy spelled the way everybody spells it, Amy, and then
Mhm.
Wagner, Wagner.
Right.
So, everybody, thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. You can find Amy, like she mentioned, on her website or on LinkedIn. You can find me, Catherine Gray, there as well. Our websites are sheangelinvestors.com. And of course, you can find the movie, showherthemoneymovie.com. And then our venture fund is Silicon Valley Women Founders Fund .vc. So you can find both of us on social media, and we look forward to hearing from you. Amy, thanks so much for taking the time to let everybody know about equipment financing and leasing. Very interesting. They have a go-to person now. Love it and appreciate you taking the time. Make it a
Thank
great week,
you.
everybody.